Great to have you all on board. It's another time with Coach Ayo, the enthusiastic tutor, and in today's tutorial, it happens to be the continuation of the course GST 103. For those of us who are new to the stream, let's ensure to subscribe to the channel, let's ensure to turn on the notification bell, and let's not forget to also give this stream a thumbs up, like, and most importantly, for those of us who haven't joined the private class yet, let's ensure to join the private class as well, because this is a community where we have students who are who have something in common, which is their consistent classes, support needed to scale through the semester, from TMA support, class support, and every other academic support you might be requiring throughout the semester. We provide it in the private class. So it's a complete package. And for those of us who might like to join the private class, all you need to do is just send us a direct message. I'll be happy to attend to you. And basically, you can reach out to us through our official website. You can also send us a direct message through our social media handles. You can use YouTube, you can use Facebook, you can also use TikTok or Twitter or X, formerly known as Twitter. Okay, and we remain Coach Ayo, all right, and on all these platforms, all right. Yeah, I think on Facebook we are Tutor Ayo, but on other platforms it's Coach Ayo, and you can just search for that Coach Ayo now on Google as well. It's Coach Ayo now. You can always send us a direct message, but the very fastest way you can send us a direct message is through our official website, which is coachayo.com. Once you search that on your browser, it takes you to our website, and once you get to the home page or any page actually on the website, you find on the bottom left hand corner, you find the button that says Talk to Coach Ayo, and once you use that button, it takes you directly to our DM. You can use that opportunity to make your request known to us, and we will guide you accordingly. So without further ado, let's get started with today's class. So in our last class, emphasis was laid on what it means by computer. Okay, so we were able to discuss what it means by computer to some extent, but we were able to as we also move to other things like what data and what information is. So please, I need to pay detailed attention as we commence in the course of this class. If you haven't smashed the like button yet, please ensure to smash the like button. And also, let's make this class interactive. Use the comment section to say hello. Use the comment section to say hi. Let's know where you are streaming from. All right. Let's know where you are streaming from. Just say hi, hello on the comment section. All right. Let's make it an interactive class. So now, when we talk about computer, in our last class, we're able to establish the fact that computer is an electronic machine. All right, it's a machine and it uses electricity. Are we together? It can also be seen as a tool, all right, used to process data. Okay, it is basically to process data, all right, to give. So first thing we note that it could be a tool or a machine. Are we together? It could be a tool or a machine. And this machine does something so well, which is to what? To process data. All right, for data processing. Now, underline data. You remember in our last class I said data can also be translated as information. Data can also be translated as information. So data can also be seen or referred to as information. I beg your pardon, instructions. So the computer is as good as useless if it does not receive data. Okay, it is as good as useless if it does not receive information. I beg your pardon, if it does not receive data. It's just like having a vehicle without having gas, without having gas in the fuel, in the gas tank. All right, the vehicle might be very, very effective, looks okay, but it's of no use because you can't move it, you can't use it for its purpose because there's no gas in the gas tank. All right, so the computer is as useless as it could be, as it can be, if it does not receive data. Now, after this data is given to the computer, what does the computer do with the data? All right, so this data haven't been received, all right, or this instruction, we can refer to data as also instructions or program. So after receiving this instruction, after receiving these programs, the computer then processes. And that's why you see ID, all right, stopped there just to further explain how this process works. So there will be no processing if there was never a data. All right. So the effectiveness, so the efficacy, so the importance of data when it comes to computer, when it comes to the process, when it comes to the effective or the organogram, when it comes to the use of the computer, data cannot be overemphasized. It is very, very important. So now we have that as that. So after this data is being received, it is then processed. It is then processed. So when it is processed by the computer, all right, it is then transformed. All right. So this processing transformed the data that has been given to the computer into what we call information. It is then processed and transformed into information. Are we together? Now, having established this, D, processed data is transformed into information. Now, I'm taking my time to explain this, to break this concept down properly, because this concept is all and sundry, the all and sundry of technology. This process, this simple process, is the all and sundry of the computer. When it comes to technology, when it comes to programming, be it whatever, name it, there's always an interaction between the computer and the user, and the end product of the instruction given to the computer is what you and I benefit from. So there is the process, there's an initial process of giving data, which is the process, then, and there's a transformation, all right, which makes sense of the data by converting the data into information. So the computer is capable of taking input, which we also know as data, through the input system. So now we understand that for the computer to give you the expected information you need, you need to communicate with the computer. And how do you communicate with the computer? You use the input device. Just like sometimes you want to write a letter and you don't want to type out the letter on your phone. There's something called speech, all right, recognition, whereby if you turn it on your phone can actually detect the note or the letter you want to type just by you reading it out or telling your phone, speaking into the microphone on your phone. And your phone begins to do the typing for you. All you just need to do is just to recite, tell, or read out what you have in mind. That is one of the ways we communicate with the computer. That's an input system. So when we speak of giving instruction to the computer, we do it through the input system. All right. So the computer is capable of receiving inputs through this input is also can be interchanged with instructions, program, on data, okay, through the input system slash devices. Are we together? So let's quickly consider a very simple table that explains this process. All right, let's quickly consider a very straightforward table that explains this process. So we have the first table here, the first box. Okay. I think I should bring this a little bit close. Aha. So we have, since we are using data, let's just use data here. Okay, so process, and we have information. So we have so now this is a typical example of what we have been discussing. All right, a pictorial, an explanation using diagram. All right, we can have something here. This could be the this could be the user, all right, this could be the user giving information or giving instruction, I mean, to the computer, giving instruction to the computer, and that instruction is being transported, all right, into the faculty where computer receives. We're going to get there where the computer receives information and processes. So from here now, we can then say this is the input, all right, system. Here we have the central processing unit, and here we have the output system. So from here now, you can tell that everything that has to do with everything, these are distinctive departments. They all are distinctive departments. Just like we have human anatomy. All right. Speaking of the body, different departments make the body functional. All right. The body can't become self-sufficient tomorrow and tells the hands to go. The body can't become self-sufficient tomorrow and tell the ears to take their leave. The body can become self-sufficient tomorrow and tells the tongue to take a bow and leave. No, the combination of all these parts makes the body what the body is. The same thing goes for the computer. The combination of all these departments, input system, the CPU, the output system, makes the computer what the computer is. All right, just bear this in mind. We are still this is the organogram of what this course is all about. Now, under data, we are going somewhere. Under the input device, we have a lot to talk about. Under the processing, all right, system, we have a lot to talk about. Under the CPU, a lot goes into this. Under giving out information, a lot to discuss, and output system as well. All right, but just bear in mind the structure as we continue. So now that we understand the process, let's talk about data. So permit me to erase the board so we can accommodate more questions. So please, for those of us who are new to the stream, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, you want to ensure to subscribe. All right, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Okay, so you don't get to miss out on any of our recent classes. The subscribe button is just below. All right, it's below the stream. If you are subscribed before now, no problem. All right. We also are encouraged to share the link of this class to our course mates. Students belong to a lot of different groups. All right. So please let us, by sharing the class, by this will help definitely tell others that we are doing something here, and you can also come and benefit from these classes. Please do how to share. The share button is just below. The share button is below um the stream. Find it below the stream, and you can easily get the link for sharing. And the moment you do that, a whole lot of students can also benefit from what we are doing. And the TMA is currently ongoing. If you have any question, support, you need guidance with the TMA, don't forget to reach out to us. We're always here to assist. And as TMA is currently on, don't miss your classes as well. You have to strike the balance. You need to ensure to strike the balance. Very important. So now let's get back into our class. So now we have data. So when we say data, okay, data is referred to facts. Remember when we started this class, I said something about data. It is nothing more than just facts. All right. These facts could be about a person, it could be about an object, it could be about a place. Right? So we can just refer to this as simple facts, e.g., a name, a place, okay, age, class, age, class, and so on and so forth. Just facts. Complexion, height, just facts. Nothing more, nothing less. And trust me, facts don't make much sense. Are we together? Facts don't make much sense if they are not being processed. By the processing of this fact, that is when they begin to gain, all right, footage in understanding. They begin to gain better understanding. Basically, the understanding, comprehension, the sentences, everything is being made up by facts. So you can't say because facts don't really make much sense. So let's just push aside facts and go for information. No, the so-called information is nothing without facts. It is a processed fact. It's just like we have our raw materials when production. You cannot achieve anything tangible without raw materials. It is these raw materials that are being processed, then transformed into tangible goods. So we have that as that. Now that we say something about fact, what about information? So for information is referred to as a statement. Permit me to abbreviate there. Meaningful statements. Now, we said data are just facts. And some of this is a name. A name could be Bola. A name could be Kelvin. A name could be Angel. It doesn't really make sense. But it makes more sense when you say Angel is my friend. So we can tell that yes, out of thousands of angels or out of thousands of individuals with the name Angel, there's a particular angel which you know, and that angel is your friend. That makes more sense. A place in Kenya, a place in Kenya could be 500 places. Okay, let's say a place in Abuja. A place in Abuja could be up to 200. So when you say Buhari is a place in Abuja, and I have a friend there, even just saying Buhari is a place in Abuja, we can tell that, oh, you're speaking of a place, and that place is in Abuja, and that place precisely is Buhari. That is information. It makes sense that a place is the raw material used in forming or completing the information a place in Abuja called Buhari. You can just say Buhari as well. Buhari is also a fact, but it does not make sense. Is it Buhari as a person or Buhari as a place? Then you now say Buhari is a place in Abuja. You are referring to the place called Buhari, not the person called Buhari, because there are people who bears the name Buhari. So we have that start. Now that we understand what it means by information and we understand what it means by data, let's talk about the method of data processing. Okay, so basically, we understand that data needs to be processed for us to make sense of it. It needs to be processed, and that is the job of the computer to help process data. But it might interest you to know that processing might look simple, might sound simple to you, but it's not as simple as it seems, because when it comes to the processing of data, it can be done in three major ways. All right, the processing of data could be done in three major or different ways, three major methods. So when it comes to GST103, in the course material acknowledges that three major ways of processing data. Notice three. So we have three major methods of processing of data processing. Of data processing. So three basically. We have one, two, three. So for the first one, it is the manual method, the mechanical method, and the computer method. So we have the manual method, mechanical method, and the computer method are the three major methods. Now, it facilitates human efforts in doing what? In recording. It facilitates human efforts in doing what? In recording, classifying, all right, sorting, and presenting of data or information. Now, one thing that makes the manual method stand out is that here data processing, all right, entails the consideration of manual efforts. So literally, just like I'm using marker now, I have to write things out for you to visualize upon and write it out at your end or write it down at your end. So its emphasis are laid more on human effort in such, all right, of such kind. Now, this manual method permits a lot of error, right? Sometimes I might even be writing on the board, I'll say, no, this is not what I'm going to show, I'm going to erase it, all right? It permits a lot of error, okay? And it's also very tiring. You can imagine if I am to write out a whole course material on the whiteboard, it will be very boring, it will be tiring, it will be frustrating, time consuming. So processing of data by manual method is likely to be affected by human errors. Okay, when there are errors, then the readability, the accuracy, the tidiness, the validity, how authentic the data is, would be questionable, would be in doubt. So this manual method does not allow for processing, all right, allow for processing of large data. Are we together? It does not allow for the processing of large data at all. So without further ado, I want to also finish it here because our time is up, but I want us to complete this method before we call it a wrap. So that is that for the manual. So for the mechanical, data processing involves the use of machines such as typewriters. Machines such as typewriters, they can also be very useful, all right, but not as effective. It is very, very useful, better than the manual one, all right, because now you're using the machine. Here, you're not using machines and devices, but here now, mechanical method, you now have the machine to help make your work faster, tidy, accurate, all right, like the typewriter is also being used, all right, but unfortunately, this one causes a lot of noise, all right, and is also prone to error, and sometimes it can be untidy. So it does not also allow the processing of very large, to some extent, the capacity of handling large volume of data is way, way, way more than the manual method. But still, it has its limits. It cannot manage a very large number of, it cannot process a very large number of data. All right. And we have the last one, which is the computer method. This method is the best. All right. It's a method of carrying out data processing with capacity such as steadily, all right, or steadiness and continuous process. It has the capacity to operate practically without any noise. And it is working. And literally there are no noise. It also has the capacity to store large value of data and also process large value of data, whether you want it stored temporarily or permanently. It has the capacity. The accuracy is also top notch. All right, accuracy is also top notch, and it gives a very neat output. All right, so some of the things we need to note here when it comes to the computer method is that the speed is way, way better than these two. Speed. Talking of accuracy, very accurate. Talking of the capacity to store, way better than the other two methods. All right. And it's also reliable, very reliable. So we have that as that. So we're going to stop here for today. So in our next class, we are going to try to a whole lot in our next class because we are still in the very first module and I want us to go fast so that by next week we can complete this course and move to the next one. So in our next class, we are going to be we are going to be starting from the computing system, although our topic might not be the computing system, it might be something else, but we're going to start from the computing system. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone. I believe you have been able to gain something in today's class. Please, if there's something you don't understand, use the comment section to let me know something you want to talk to me about, we do respond to comments. Please make yourself comfortable. Reach out to us if you need any further assistance, anything. I'll be happy to respond to you. And like I said earlier, please let's go to share the link of this class to our classmates, people that you feel they might be interested. And also, if you are interested in becoming a member of our private class, or guide you, we hold you by the hand, have one-on-one interactions frequently and regularly. All you need to do is just send us a direct message through our official website, coachiron.com. I'll be happy to respond to you. You have a wonderful evening, and bye for now.